Well, hello there, guys. Welcome to our Alea Acta Est stream. We're going to give it about 2 more minutes, give some people the opportunity to jump in, and then we will, of course, get started. Okay, how's it going, guys? I see we've got some people popping in already. Very, very cool. Just opening up my screen here, make sure that I can spot you all. And see what happens. So let's give it just a few more seconds here. I want to make sure that everyone pops in and enjoys themselves. We are going to be playing one of the expansions in Alea Acta Est, so we're going to jump into new game right here. And if you take a look, if we go all the way down here, we've got something called Caesar's Revenge. So for this, you need the Parthian expansion pack in the game. And this is basically an alternative history scenario. So the way it's explained here is the final defeat of the sons of Pompeius Magnus in Hispania puts a final term to the civil war and sees the triumph of Caesar. Absolute master of Rome from now on, Caesar sees no limits to his ambition. And some say he seeks to restore the royalty in Rome for his personal profit. But on the Ides of March 44 before Jesus Christ, he is brutally assassinated in the Curia by enraged Republicans led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Iunius Brutus. But if Caesar had not met his death on that day, no doubt that he would have eliminated the opposition and then launched his great campaign against the Parthians, in part to avenge the murder of his friend Crassus, after the latter's defeat at Carrhae in 53 BC, and then would have marched in the footsteps of his idol Alexander the Great. So, hello already. I've got already a few people jumping in here. Good to see you guys. So, indeed, we are playing a sort of alternative history scenario, and this alternative history scenario would take place if Caesar was never murdered. So we're going to jump into this. We are, of course, going to be playing as Rome, and we are fighting against Parthia. So as you can see here, this scenario is a hypothetical situation which simulates the campaign that Caesar had planned against the Parthians before his assassination during the Ides of March 44 BC. For Rome, the goal is to capture all of the Mesopotamian plains while holding the Armenian plateaus. Parthians win just by merely surviving the Roman onslaught. So actually, this is definitely one of those battles where if you want to have a serious challenge, you can always go for Parthia. And actually, the Parthians were incredible fighters. They really were. So this is really not putting the Parthians down. But in this particular case, we get to play as Caesar, of course, and we see him here in Byzantium. And we're going to, of course, head out to the east and get on the Parthian border. So I think the first place I want to head to is Zeugma. It's only going to take us 51 days to get there, and that might seem like a really long time. But, of course, we're in a time when there are no trains, there are no buses. The only real mode of transport is by foot and by horse. This is not an easy mode of transport at all, as you could probably imagine. So we're going to go ahead and try and still get over there, crush the enemy. We're also using Proconsul Publius Cornelius Dolabella. If you look at Dolabella's actual screen there, you can see that he can probably actually stand to take a few more troops on. So I'm going to see if we can't take this army right here, and I'm going to bring him to Dolabella, 12 days. We also have some interesting allies during this campaign. Now, a lot of them are locked, but we do have the Artaxes, which are basically sort of a tribe in eastern Turkey that is on our side against the Parthians. And we also have, of course, Cleopatra VII over here in Alexandria. But of course, if you're playing the Caesar's Revenge campaign, these characters need to be unlocked by certain edicts. We'll take a look at the edicts right now. We don't have any, I think, at the moment. We've got some minor propaganda campaigns, minor games, but we need a lot more than that to obviously get Cleopatra and a bunch of others on our side. So we're going to end right here, end the turn, and hope for the best. Let's hope that Caesar gets to his position as quickly as possible. As you guys have noticed, I've also turned the volume down on the game, to be honest, because trying to stream and talk at the same time with Alea Acta Est can be quite tough. So we have our first battle, the Battle of Samosata. And as you can see here, this is actually led by one of our puppet kings, Antiochus I. of Armenia. And as you can take a look over here, we actually managed to get a nice victory here. 4 rounds. As you can see, the enemy, the Parthians, have a very specific set of sort of tactics, I guess you could say. It's mostly horse archers and equites, some auxilia. They really like to go for a kill almost immediately using their missile units, which, to be honest, for the time period, makes quite a lot of sense. It's pretty effective, and I can see why they would use it. Let's also get a few comments in the chat, make sure that people are actually here and watching. We're also going to take a look here. The number of prisoners we took, 7 times 500, 3,500 if I'm not mistaken. Quite a lot of prisoners there. So that's the first battle. It's good to see that we're already winning fights and we're not even in Parthia yet. They've actually tried to attack us. So I'm taking a look at some of these cities, and obviously all of the green is Parthia. We're going to take Dolabella here. Cornelius Dolabella, he's gotten more than enough men in his actual group, and I'm going to actually try to move through this area. So this is definitely going to require an assault. It looks like Dolabella is not prepared for an assault yet, but we'll send Caesar through as well. Caesar is definitely going to be prepared for an assault. This guy is always ready to fight. Hold on one second, guys. Let's take a look here at the live dashboard. All right, so we're going to take Caesar here and moving through the enemy territory. So far, none of our false kings have really joined our side, although we do still have some exercitus that we could bring through to basically assist our men in retaking this area. But let's see how it goes. We're going to go ahead. We're going to end the turn. We'll only start doing propaganda campaigns and gladiatorial matches when we actually get into Parthia. And the reason being, you know, we're really only trying to impress the Parthian people. The Romans are already on our side. And as you can see right there, Proconsul Dolabella managed to get a victory right away. The enemy lost nearly 3,000 men. You can see 1,537 men, but it's also 1,537 horses. The horses basically count as cavalry. It's not like they just lost horses. They lost cavalry units and infantry units. And we've got some really interesting actual units. We've got some pedites, funditores in this particular army. You know, of course, we've got our typical equites and a legion as well, but we've got a lot of Parthian, Turkish, all sorts of different mixes of troops here that are more than willing to assist us in defeating the enemy. And right there, Caesar just took Apamea. Of course, Caesar has tremendous amounts of legions here. It's unbelievable. And the enemy has some urban presidium. These guys are quite good, actually, in terms of a militia unit, but we still beat them. So pretty much a total victory there. And we are through. Now, the thing I'm worried about, I hope... Okay, good. I was going to say, I hope those two didn't join up. Hey, Kandra, how you doing? Good to see you guys. Always good when you guys... Feel free to ask any questions down below, chat away. Also keep in mind, Alea on the Slytherin site is currently on sale. It's just on the Slytherin site, it's not on Steam, so you definitely want to go check it out if this is something you want to pick up. And again, I can't recommend this enough. Get the DLC. So the one we're playing right now, for those of you that have just arrived, this particular DLC is the Parthian campaigns DLC, and it allows you to play a campaign where Caesar was never murdered. Basically an alternative history scenario. Now, I'd love to keep moving with Caesar, but I think what we actually have to do, we have to go into defensive mode and build a depot here, because as you can see already, the legions are losing a lot of cohesion. This is new territory. We've never been here before, and we absolutely want to make sure that the people here understand that this is Roman land. Let's see what this guy is doing. So actually, Dolabella seems fine. I want to see if he can start attacking. I don't think he can, so I might just keep him here with Caesar and assist in building the depot. Let's hope it gets built. We'll also, well, actually, I was going to say we're going to start doing some edicts, but I think we'll wait a bit. Now, one cool thing is we've got some actual friends here, some allies, I guess you could say. We're going to be bringing them through to just cause some havoc in the enemy lines. Once again, one of the coolest things about playing this campaign is the amount of puppets we have under us is unbelievable. We've got Castor of the Galati, we've got Cappadocia of the Comana clans, and of course, we can't forget the Comagena exercitus of the Samosata people. Just a ton of different, basically, puppet kings here. And the Armenians, led by Sperapet Mankaios, and actually they're really led by Rex Artavestis. I'm sure I'm horribly mangling that name, but I'm trying my best. And basically, it's really cool because during this time, if Caesar was never murdered, his next route, his next goal would be to conquer Parthia. That was actually one of his biggest plans. So let's end the turn here. Enough chitter chatter. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get those supply depots up and running. And of course, then it'll be a lot easier to get men into our armies. So here we go. Oh, we got a fight, and unfortunately, one of our puppets lost a battle here against Pacorus I. This is actually one of the Parthian royal family, and pretty epic units on each side. I mean, if you guys can see those units, that is beautiful. The enemy has a lot of Sagittari, Equites, and like I said, they're horse archers. You know, the Parthians are mainly horse archers, almost like, and I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but almost like the Huns. They are incredible at basically attacking, leaving, and just destroying the enemy army. We're also fighting Ardashir II with our puppet king Castor II, and unfortunately we had a Roman defeat. Realistically, though, these are not actually Romans. These are, and actually you can see this guy is actually naked. His sword is covering a certain part of his body, but the Peditis, Gal, and I believe these are Galatia. It's not Galicia. That would be all the way in Spain. The Galatians, perhaps, against the Sagittarians. And basically, once again, the enemy has some really nice Sagittarians here. You can see these Pediatus. I mean, this is a serious force. Let's take a look. I'm almost sure. Yes, this is the Shah Ardashir II. So this could actually be the leader of the Parthians here. Now, I don't like that the enemy got behind us, but sometimes there's not much you can do. What I am going to do, I'm going to take my puppet king, and I'm going to add him to Caesar's army. So now we've got a puppet king along with our good friend Consul Servilius Vatia, and I think it's time for us to start attacking. So we're going to go ahead and charge out, and I'm going to go for this, what looks like a pretty strong unit. After that, I'm going to try to cut the enemy off. I see that this guy's already gotten behind our lines. You know, it's kind of annoying, but there's not too much we can do about it now. We can try to attack with Dolabella, but I would be just as happy getting him stuck in here. So basically, he's completely stuck and can't move. That would be the best. And pretty soon here, we are going to play a propaganda campaign so that we can get some people on our side. Let's go ahead, end the turn, and hope for the best here. We really need some serious assistance here in the northern parts of Parthia. This is where we want to win the most regularly. We want to constantly be winning here. And there we go. We're attacking one of the royal family of the Parthians, and an unbelievable victory for Caesar. Can somebody take a look at that number? 11,377 is how many men we killed. And we took each as 500 men, took a tremendous amount of prisoners here. I mean, just ridiculous amounts. The enemy absolutely lost this battle, and I think that it's in no small part to the help of our legions. You just can't stand up to legions, even when you are using some pretty good ground troops. I think this is the first time we've also seen the Parthians with some ground troops. Let's continue. Nice little victory there, and we've taken the city of Edessa. And another victory here, and I think we're almost about to kill Orodes II, but just crushing these guys. Now all they have are auxilia troops. And look at that, we lost 396, the enemy lost 3,075. We've got an army of 73,000 men. The only other Age Gods game in which I can imagine having this many men in my army would be To End All Wars. So it just makes you realize how in these ancient wars there really was so much fighting. And look at that! Amazing! So our actual puppet king, Castor II, managed to beat one of the Parthian armies led by Alcedonius. The enemy lost almost 3,000. We only lost like 246. And these are all barbarian warriors. Some of them are naked. I mean, some of these guys don't even have clothes. The enemy had a lot of camel troops, a lot of, obviously, cavalry troops in general, but we managed to hold them off. So really great job there. And I think the equities, the barbarian equities here are learning, which is really cool. Look at that, guys. All that land is turning red. And of course, the main goal of this campaign is to take all of Parthia. Parthia is a large, large area. It's essentially modern-day Persia, or modern-day Iran, as you would know it, as well as a little bit extra. We're going to go ahead and take Dolabella. We're going to go north. Now, I know I said I was going to start doing propaganda campaigns, but I think I'm going to wait just a little bit until we take just a little more land. And you can see Dolabella is actually taking quite a long time to get up there, so there could be an issue with the weather, maybe some sandstorms, who knows. But I'm going to continue my assault into Parthia with Caesar. We've taken this city of Carthage so quickly. And those of you that are fairly aware, you know, Carthage was a very well-known city at the time, a trading city. and particularly probably because of its proximity here to the Euphrates River. The same is true for Apamea. So both of these areas are very important to us. And yes, Jacta again, indeed. And the reason we're playing Jacta again, despite, well, besides the fact that I love Alea is that we actually have a sale going on the Slytherin site, guys, for Alea. So you should pick it up now as soon as you can. Let's end the turn here and see if we can't take some more Parthian territory. And after that, we're going to play some propaganda campaigns, because if we don't, put propaganda in the minds of the Parthian people, they will revolt. And with so many enemies to fight here, we absolutely need all the people on our side. Now look at that. We just killed 7,800 men. The rest of the army actually got away. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a guy leaving, and he had quite a large army with him, so we might face him next turn. But just a total victory. He's right there, led by Orodes II. But we managed to take the town, and I could continue fighting. I mean, my legions are actually not in the greatest shape, but I trust they could win this. So I'm going to go straight for the enemy, believe it or not. And I'm also going to take this guy. Unfortunately, he's not in the best shape. He's besieging this settlement, but he can't really take Edessa unless, of course, he's in an assault pose. So what we will do right now is we will play some minor propaganda campaigns, etc. So let's do a minor propaganda campaign. We'll do some minor games, and we could also sell prisoners. So we've taken quite a lot of prisoners already. We might as well sell a few of them. Why not? Another interesting thing here, let me take a look, is we could start talks with Cleopatra. This option will allow you to unlock the Roman units in Egypt at the cost of some engagement points. But beware, Rome will lose 2 national morale and 150 victory points. To get the legions out of Egypt, some insurance must be given to Cleopatra, who fears for the safety of her son Caesarion in Alexandria. Giving Cyrenaica back to the Lagged Kingdom will probably convince her, but the Senate in Rome will hate seeing a Roman province abandoned. And that's 20 engagement points. So it's actually 22 engagement points total, which is quite a lot. I mean, we have 36. So I'm going to let you guys decide, whoever wants to say it first. Do we start talks with Cleopatra or do we not? And I know there's a slight delay on this stream, but we're not doing anything until somebody gives us an answer. So whoever says yes or no first, that's what we're going to do. Start talks with Cleopatra, yes or no. I'm also, actually no, I'll keep Dolabella here. I'm going to merge him with this group. But we definitely want your feedback on this. Watch out for the victory point restriction, says Piddly and Squishy, for doing this campaigns. I keep forgetting when I play. Oh, absolutely, man. So let's see. Yay or nay for talking with Cleopatra? Hold on a sec. And this will determine, so Hourly Fish is saying get her help, so we're going to say yes. We're going to start talks with Cleopatra. So here we go. And this is 20 engagement points. It's expensive, but it's worth it. And obviously, we get her assistance. A lot of Parthia is situated over here near Egypt, and we can use all the help we can get. We do have a few units here, but they can't really do much. And we need Cleopatra's forces to make this a bit easier on us. Let's put it that way. Let's proceed to the next turn. Hopefully we get into a massive fight with Orodes II here. I want to wipe out as many of the Parthian nobility as I can to ensure Roman rule in this region. And there we go. We've caught him. We've caught him. He's got a lot of reinforcements, but he's not getting away. And that is a victory that beats them all. We nearly killed 15,000 of his men. He did kill 5,000 of our men. Let's give it to him. He had an army of nearly 60,000. We had 75,000. Let's give it to this guy. He actually put up a pretty good fight, all things considered. He was mainly using Presidium units. So these are all basically militia units with spears. He does have a few urban Presidium, which are a little bit better. But I've got to give it to him. Against a legion lasting 6 turns, that is impressive. Like, this guy is... I wish we could make him into a puppet, but unfortunately we're going to have to kill him, quite honestly. Nonetheless, he could serve useful if he was willing to join Rome. So already these areas, a lot of these areas are getting a nice dose of propaganda. And actually you could see here that the loyalty towards the Romans before was like 22%. Now it's actually 43%. So the people are starting to... they're starting to like the Romans. It's sort of like that Life of Brian scene. It's like, what have the Romans ever done for us? And they're starting to realize that maybe these Romans aren't so bad as opposed to our Parthian overlords. Now, I am going to build a supply depot right here. I don't generally build supply depots in areas this small, but I think this really calls for it. I am going to try to go for the assault with Dolabella, so we're going to try to assault Edessa, and at the same time, we're going to try to get to the Parthian army. So we're kind of trying to do two things at once. We probably have a few new units at Rome as well, and there you go, sure enough. And I think at this point of the campaign, we get a little special friend here, and we do. It's the Equites led by Princeps Bogot, and this guy will basically become the leader of our third army. Unless we want to take another puppet king, we've got quite a few here to choose from and have them lead the army. But for now, I think we're going to play things pretty cool. Let's take a look here. I'm also going to, well, we have plenty of denarii, so I'm actually going to do a major propaganda campaign against the enemy, and hopefully this helps us in the lands we're already in. I don't want rebellions happening, you know, that's no fun. We've also got Castor Galati, another one of our puppet kings. I'm sending him to join Caesar and just build Caesar's army even more. I mean, this would be such an incredible campaign if it actually happened. Of course, as you guys can imagine, you know, this is totally alternative history, but, you know, the Romans did go to war with the Parthians many times, and it was always a tough fight. The Parthians managed to kill a lot of Romans. So Caesar's goal to take Parthia would have probably put him over Alexander the Great in terms of conquest. You know, this would have just been a massive victory. So I think our next move is moving in the mountains here. I don't want to have to do that, but we have no choice because we've got to chase this guy. And then we'll move down into Singara. And we'll just keep taking all of their cities here to try to cut a curve through their cities. We're still besieging Edessa, so this is taking a long time. We're just going to keep on attacking until we break through. Any Field of Glory 2 news this Syria? None that I can share right now. But I'm glad you're asking. Keep in mind that when we do have Field of Glory 2 news, we'll definitely be doing a Let's Play here on the channel. Also, guys, I request those of you that are new to the Let's Play series here, please do subscribe. And even if you're not new and you just occasionally get updates from the Steam page, subscribe. It really does help the entire channel. So let's end the turn here. And Caesar is ripping through Parthia here. This would be a massive victory if we manage to get through. Come on, Caesar. It's time for him to rest, but there's no time to rest. That's the problem. Here we go. Chasing, of course, once again, Orodes, and this time just a very minor skirmish. It's not even really worth looking at. Roman victory here at Singara. And we're attacking the actual garrison, and 12,600 men killed. We took a few prisoners, but I must say, Caesar's army brings blood, terror, and just fear everywhere they go. I mean, he's incredible. And in this second part of the campaign, the naked Pedites started the fight. They did a great job, though. I mean, they're incredible fighters now that we have this puppet in our army. And here we go. Now, this is a massive fight against Talimenos Selassis, and we won once again. I mean, how many battles can Caesar win? How many kills have we gotten so far? In fact, that's a really good question. We're going to take a look at the casualties very soon, but you could see here that this unit, or this army, had some very, very good elite units in it. The Pediatus and the Sagittarius, the armored Sagittarius, are incredible fighters, and they had more Pediatus here. So these were very, very strong units, but we won. That's what's important, and we took a ton of prisoners once again. Looks like they're going to attack us with a minor army, but it's almost like they were sacrificing themselves. Now, we've got to be careful here. We've got the Tigris River, of course, coming through, which is probably also bringing in supplies. But this is a very small landmass here, and if we don't hold it, we're in some trouble. So I'm actually going to have Caesar move to the west again, basically heading back home. I don't want to say retreating, because Caesar doesn't retreat. He only advances to the rear. That's all he does. And we're going to basically advance to the rear over here, try to take some cities on the way, and get back to where we've got some supply depots so that he can start getting more men. I mean, all I can really do with poor Dolabella is keep him here as long as possible. Now, the thing is, if you take a look here on your portraits, you'll see that a lot of the units, a lot of the generals have specific abilities. So Dolabella is a poor fleet tactician. He's terrible at sea, but we're not using him at sea. As you can see, he's a strong disciplinarian, and so this is a leader capable of inspiring his men. And this will give +1 discipline to all elements in his stack. And he's a poor spy, which, as you could probably imagine, is not good in a siege. In a siege, you know, in most sieges, you've got to send men into the city, dressed as merchants, whatever, to try and get some information about what's going on inside. If you're a poor spy, you're not going to be great at sieges. It's just not going to happen. So I don't think we're going to use any engagement points this turn, but I do want to take a look here at the level of respect. So it was at 44%. Now it's at like 43%. We've got a few at 47%. But in general, it hasn't improved dramatically. I think we need to do another major propaganda campaign. So let's do that. Let's do a major propaganda campaign. And we could confiscate the Singara city treasure. Of course, Singara is where the Parthians kept a lot of their treasures. We could take this area. We would gain 500 denarii, but we're going to lose a ton of loyalty in that area. So I'm not going to take the city treasure. It's just not fair. And I'll also do some minor games, keep the people entertained. I want to do some major games, damn it. But I think it's a little too late for major games. So this is interesting. Force Armenian neutrality. Wow. Armenia's forced neutrality must end. That country must submit to Rome. Caesar should be able to use their roads immediately and later their units in his war against the Parthians. This is going to cost us 50,000 denarii and 10 engagement points. We've got 29. We're going to force Armenia to join us. They should be natural enemies of the Parthians anyway. And we're going to take a look here at the casualties. So we've lost 23,400 men. Pretty rough. The enemy prisoners here, 2,004. I think this is actually 24,000. I see a number over here that's kind of hidden off on the right. That could be a little glitch there. But maybe it is just 2,450 because honestly, even though I'm sure we've taken more prisoners than that, I'm sure that the prisoners probably weren't treated very well in this time period. The combat power of the enemy is dwindling, and we killed 89,000 of their men. 89,000. That is definitely Caesar's revenge, without a doubt. Let's see if Cleopatra is unlocked yet. She's not unlocked, but of course she's going to allow us to move freely through this area. She's still locked, and we don't really need her now anyway, but she does unlock later in the campaign. This is a 54-turn campaign, guys. Keep in mind, if you pick this game up, today we have it on sale, and all of the campaigns, or most of the campaigns, are extremely long. You can play them differently every time, so the replay value is massive. Let's go ahead and end the turn and see if Caesar can cut through the bottom here, taking even more of Parthia and adding it to our glorious empire. Well, it's not an empire yet. It's still a republic. It's still a republic. We don't want the senators to slaughter us, so it's still a republic. But there we go, 3,600 men killed on the Parthian side. Easy win. Don't even need to really look at that. And we'll continue forward. And it looks like actually Caesar got stuck. Now this, sorry about that, guys. We'll get Alea back up and running. And once again, one of the cool things, and yes, DLC is on sale too, McSpishy. One of the cool things about, of course, Alea is the fact that, you know, or any of the Age-Out games really, is if you do crash, you just continue your save game. It's always auto-saved unless you turn that option off, so we'll probably just resume and do exactly what we were doing before. It also saves the moves you made. I'll show you guys what I mean when we get back to the map. But basically, like, if you planned out moves and then you get that awful message or you get a shutdown, those moves are still going to be there. So, you know, the only thing that does occasionally get injured is this is a game with, you know, obviously there's tactics involved, but there's also luck. So occasionally you might win a battle and then the next time you lose that same battle with the when you try to reopen the game. That can be frustrating, but I haven't seen that happen too much. Let's head down here, and once again I want to go and select this view. And actually, yeah, there we go. It actually saved the turn. So at this point, we actually saved, even the end of the turn was saved, which is great. I think I'm going to go into Xenophoditia. Is that correct? Because this is going to connect us, of course, you know, have a nice landmass here. But once again, I'm so annoyed at Dolabella. He still hasn't taken this damn city. The guy is just terrible. We're going to send this guy to help him. I'm even going to send some more men to help Dolabella. He just doesn't seem to manage to take these places on his own, and that's a sign of a bad leader. He's good in other ways. I mean, Dolabella is great on the field, but in terms of taking a city, he's horrible. And look at this. We got our first unit of cataphracts. I'm going to start massing them here on the border so that we can eventually go after that Parthian army. They are definitely a problem. And let's end the turn. Come on, boys. Get some victories for us here. I don't think we've had one defeat. Maybe we've had one. But so far, this has been possibly the best campaign we've played in terms of victories the entire time we've been playing Age-Out's games. And there we go, a massive Roman victory at Xenodotia. 12,792 enemies lost. only on day 8, so we absolutely kicked their ass. We moved through there just like a knife through butter, and I think we're going to take that area, and then we'll have a nice connection to the rest of our empire. Now, that's frustrating. Ardashir apparently started some sort of rebellion. There's no other way he could have possibly gotten around here unless he just cut through our lines, which I guess is a possibility, but a frustrating one at that. Let's take a look here. And so, yes, Piddly Squishly was asking if the DLC is on sale. It definitely is. Just about everything is on sale, really. That's related to Alea. Give me 1 second, guys. We've got an issue here with our Twitch page. Google Chrome failed me. That's impossible. That never happens. All right, well, we'll jump back in here. So with Dolabella, I almost feel like there's no point in keeping him here. I think I'm going to send him back. 62 days. It's going to take him basically the equivalent of 2 turns just to get back to a province that's right next to his. This guy Dolabella's got to go. I'm thinking if I was Caesar, I would have killed this guy a long time ago. He's just not very good. Nonetheless, Caesar's armies, they're actually not too bad in terms of the cohesion. They're actually doing pretty good. So I'm going to take Caesar, and I'm going to move east over here. 32 days, we should be able to clear most of this territory in that time period. And of course, if we can attack as well, that's even better. Let's try. Let's go for it. And in this entire time, Dolabella is going to stay put because he's useless. Let's be honest. And we'll end the turn. Come on, Cesare. Actually, there's a proper Latin way of saying Caesar, and it's not Cesare or Caesar. Now, look at that, 11,746. Yes, we're crushing them. The actual correct way to say Caesar in Latin sounds more Germanic, but it's Caesare. Caesare with the E at the end. I've actually gotten into arguments way back when I was in college with a history teacher who eventually agreed with me, and initially he's like, no, that's not true, and then he looked it up for himself. He's like, oh yeah, you're right, but it's easy to make that mistake, and it is. But of course, Caesare is very different from Caesar. Caesar is the more anglicized version of the name. So one thing we have to look at that. Are those the Hanging Gardens? No, they're not, but we're going to go straight for Ninus. This is a huge city, and of course taking it would really help us out. But we're getting, more and more held back here by this situation. And actually, it looks like Dolabella can attack for once, so we're going to go for the charge. We're going to try to charge into the city. I think we'll also play some propaganda here. We'll do some major propaganda. We've got enough money for it, and we'll do some minor games. We could also get support from Cappadocia for 10 engagement points. Yes, we're going to take it. We already got the support from the Armenians, so we can move through their land without them stopping us, essentially. They're not going to get in our way, which is good to know. And we'll end the turn. Come on, Dolabella. Caesar is outshining you in every way. There we go. Finally, a victory from Dolabella at Edessa. And I want to see if he took the city or if he just killed the army outside of it. Another Roman victory there at Palmyra, and of course a victory by Caesar as he moves through the rest of Parthia. Just imagine being a part of this army and doing that entire march. I mean, we've not only come from Byzantium, because you have to imagine at this point the Roman Empire was set, of course, in Rome. So we had to go to Greece first, go all the way to the east, finally get over here to Thrace, hang out in Byzantium, and then move all the way here to the east, where this entire area that we're fighting in, or most of it, is either desert or extremely mountainous. It's a nasty area to be in. I mean, this would be hell on any soldier. But I guess if you're being led by Caesar, you're not going to complain. You're going to do what you're told, which pretty much makes sense. Let's take a look here. We'll end the turn. And has Dolabella taken the city? Let me see. Yes, he finally took it. Dolabella isn't a total failure after all. Wonderful. We're going to put him in an attack stance as well. And does this guy have a monkey on his head? What the? I have no idea. Anyway, we're going to actually have Dolabella attack 10 days. And 19 days over here to get to Amida, and we'll move the cataphracts in just to be safe. I don't know if they're going to get there. They might get there a bit early, but at least they'll weaken the enemy army before we get there. And let's end the turn. Come on, don't let us down, boys. You can see on the west there at Faliga, the actual Parthians are raising quite a hell of an army. That's a serious army there, so I'm a little concerned about that. Come on, Dolabella. Yes, a Roman victory once again, managing to get a victory, Dolabella. Although it took you 6 turns, you've got Proconsul Dolabella is really disappointing me. I think this is going to become a meme for our Agiad streams because he's got 50,000 men against 7,000, and he's still having a little bit of difficulty winning these battles. He's no Caesar, but still, it's taking him a long time. Once again, a Roman victory. That one was a little bit better, 246 as opposed to 1,801 men lost. Yeah, we definitely won that one, so that's fair, but still, I mean, we shouldn't be, getting results like that with such a large force. Caesar there with a victory, of course, and we are just cutting through. Now, the biggest danger in this campaign, we are in Assyria now. Well, modern-day Syria, of course. One of the main issues here in this campaign is if you overextend, you've got all of these sort of land masses and supply is hopefully passing through them. We can actually look at the supply level here. So this is all areas where supply is passing through. So we're getting supplies, but if any of the enemy armies cuts us off here, we're going to be in serious trouble. Another thing that's quite important, if you take a look at the coins above these cities, these are regional assets produced. So on the left, we got victory points. On the right, we have money. We can see here, for instance, Samosata is bringing 1 victory point. Nisibis is bringing 1 victory point. It's a huge city, so it makes sense. Ninus would probably also bring us quite a few victory points. And in fact, I think it's the current capital, or one of the capitals of the Parthians. You can see when you see that star next to the area, that means either capital or major city. And it's definitely one of the two. So I'm going to take Caesar here. Now, Caesar, for once, is actually not doing well. You can see when his army turns red, you see sort of that red color. Actually, sorry, no, that was due to supply. Well, it's still showing us that our supply is not very good here. So I think we need to break north quickly. Let's try to do that. 51 days now. I don't want to go that way. 45 days. Fair enough. Basically 2 turns. Try to see if we can't make it through this entire area. And it looks like Dolabella is doing just fine. So we're going to have Dolabella go over here and try to just eliminate the threat from all sides. And we'll do another propaganda campaign. We could also get some units here. So I'm going to get some Roman line infantry. Believe it or not, these guys have seen a lot of death and destruction, and despite the fact that they've gotten a lot of victories, you've always got to stay on top of this. And we have more than enough money for it. We're going to sell some more prisoners, why not? Minor games and major propaganda campaign. Again, just trying to get as many people on our side as possible, and we'll end the turn. The least resistance, the better, and that's what we're going for here in this campaign against the Parthians. The path to least resistance. Or the path of least resistance, I should say. Wonderful. Look at that. Dolabella is finally holding up his end of the bargain. Not bad. Caesar's going to take a while to get back, but I like this situation. Although Caesar, as you can see now, he's becoming yellow. Yeah, there's an issue. He could actually suffer pretty badly here. We're going to keep moving with Dolabella, of course. And once again, I am reminding you guys that we are having a sale on our site for Alea, and yes, all of the DLC associated. So I would highly recommend going and checking it out. And remember, if you buy anything on our site, you automatically get a Steam copy of it anyway. So if you're concerned, like, oh, I don't want to buy something off Steam, you're going to get the Steam copy anyway. It's pointless to avoid it. So, go for it. Absolutely. Roman victory, easy Roman victory, of course. I mean, at this point, it's almost a cakewalk until we get into the central part of the country. And even then, we're doing pretty damn good. And there we go, Dolabella, the Battle of Gaugamels. And Dolabella pulls out a great victory there. 6,088 enemies killed, and we lost 4,428. They definitely put up a good fight. They had some elite units here, especially the Equites Ostroiene. But we won. So what can you say about that? I mean, it is what it is. Right now, Caesar is the one that actually desperately needs some support. And he's actually trying to besiege Ninus right now. I don't know if it's Ninus or Ninus, but he's trying to besiege this area. And to besiege it, excuse me, guys, he's going to have to assault it. So we're going to assault. I don't know what I did. This is like getting a cobweb tangled up. We'll figure it out. But we'll go ahead and end the turn. Okay, and once again, Caesar takes the city Ninus immediately. As you can see, I've seen that happen, but it's quite unlikely. They surrender to us in the region of Ninus, losing 3 units, 10 victory points and 1 morale points. They didn't even want to face Caesar. At least these guys had some common sense. They're like, we can't beat Caesar. Just give him this city, for goodness sakes. Let's see if our loyalty has changed at all. So yeah, now the loyalty here is 51% Roman, 53% Roman, 47% Parthian. So we've actually single-handedly managed to turn this area into pro-Roman area after only a few months, essentially. So really good job there on our side, I think. Anyway, guys, we are getting to the end of this stream. I do want to thank everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. I can't see you guys on Twitch or YouTube right now because we had a web browser crash. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really do hope you guys will take advantage of the sale we've got going on. We always like it when you guys save money and get the best bargain, because then you can come back later and tell us, hey, we got the best bargain from Slytherin. You can tell your friends, etc., and it really makes us look good. So do check that out, and as always, make sure to have a great day. I'm not sure what we're going to be streaming later this week, but I do see a lot of people that would love to see Field of Glory 2. Unfortunately, we're not at the point where we can stream that yet. Of course, when we are at the point where we can stream Field of Glory 2, it's going to be a major event, and I'm sure you guys will be there. So once again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Always appreciate your input, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care. See you next time.